So, hi everyone. Welcome back to the Standout Hospitality webinar series. If you joined us for the first session, the Room of 10, you'll remember we explored what it means to stand out by being loved, not liked. We talked about tuning out the noise, letting go of trying to please everyone, and pouring your energy into the people who truly connect with you. So today we're moving into the next part of that journey, belonging. And just before I go to start sharing my screen, I just want to point out, look at my poster. My book cover is now on my wall, and it's really exciting because it's becoming more and more real every day. The book is currently with the publishers, with the typesetters. I'm now no longer allowed to touch it, and it is literally off to the printers really, really soon. So will be in my hands soon as well. But I'm very excited about my finalised book cover. Now they're on as my poster. Anyway, let's go to sorry, I'm about to lose my voice as well, which is not good when I'm about to host a webinar. Um, to sharing my screen. There we go. There that look me technology. There we go. That's better. So as I say, today we're moving on to the next part of the journey, which is belonging. Because once you've defined who you are and who you're here to serve, the next step is creating that emotional connection that makes people want to stay, to return, and to bring others with them. So this session is called Build Belonging, Loyalty Without Discounts. And I want to say this clearly. Loyalty in independent hospitality does not come from points, cards, or freebies. Loyalty is built on belonging. See, the problem with loyalty cards is that they define loyalty as a transaction. And I genuinely have a major problem with that because loyalty in hospitality is not about money. Yes, we sell food and drink and overnight stays, and that is where we get our income. That is the deal. But actually, for the most part, our customers are not deciding to frequent our venues on cost. In fact, I think that's a problem when we describe hospitality. It's an understanding of what we actually mean. Because it is possible that on occasion, even I stop for a coffee on a journey, and I'm looking for is a hot, tasty caffeine drink. And in those circumstances, I am ashamed to admit it, but I do look for a McDonald's or a Greg's, particularly when I'm driving up and down the motorway, because both offer really good value and okay coffee. But that is different from when I want to treat myself, to sit with friends or my kids, spend time with them and feel like it's a mini event. Then I'm looking for something totally different. I want great coffee made well and with care. And I want the team to care about me and my experience. But actually, interestingly, I also want to care about the team. I want the venue to not just be clean. I want it to be designed for atmosphere, and depending on my mood. So sometimes modern and minimal when making me feel all sophisticated, but sometimes rustic and cozy, making me feel comfortable. And the same can be said for all of hospitality. So the street food or a restaurant, again, Greg's and McDonald's do when you just need calories. But for every other reason I eat out of home, I'm looking for care. There are occasions when I have been known to stay in a travel lodge, and I don't recommend it. But they are the occasions when I literally just need to put my head on a pillow. I know it will be basic. I know I will definitely regret not spending more, but I'm arriving late, leaving early, and I just need to sleep. But for every other occasion, I shop around. I'm looking for a place not only within a budget, but a place that makes me feel something. And like everyone else, when I find that place, I inevitably spend more. So loyalty rewards miss the point, or at least perhaps they're just mislabeled, because it's not to say that you shouldn't give discounts or offer a point system, although I think I could perhaps argue that there are better ways of spending your time. But they can have their place. I've certainly done it with my venues, but it absolutely should be remembered that this is a tactic and it's not loyalty. Real loyalty comes from a feeling that you belong. When people feel they belong, whether it's your customers, your team, or even you yourself as a leader, people give more, they stay longer, and they become part of something that truly matters. So I discussed this in the book. Every hospitality business, whether it's a cafe, restaurant, B&B, or cocktail bar, is serving a community. It's a tribe. And this is what you are building. When we talk about community, we're talking about connection, a group of people connected by something deeper than food or drink, a group that shares something, their values, their beliefs, how they see the world, a place where people feel seen, understood, and welcome. Sorry, I still got a frog in my throat. Um, but that's the essence of belonging. When people walk through the door, they want to feel that they have found the right place, that this is for them and that they belong here. When they check out your website, whilst the beautiful pictures of food and drinks are lovely, and it is always good to know what you can get, what people are actually judging is, will I feel at home here? Will I fit in? So our customers are not just coming out to eat or drink or just to sleep. They're looking for something more profound. And this is a great time to introduce Maslow. So Abraham Maslow developed his hierarchy of needs in 1943. It's a psychological theory to explain human motivation and behavior. And since then, this model has been widely used across psychology and, for that matter, economics, to explain and predict human behavior. So he proposed that people are driven by a set of needs arranged in a hierarchy, starting with the most basic and moving upwards towards more complex emotion and psychological needs. The idea is that those lower level needs must at least be partly satisfied before individuals can focus on those higher level needs. So Maslow believed that human behavior is largely shaped by where a person is within this hierarchy. So once the basic needs are met, we begin to seek deeper, more meaningful experiences and connection. So let me just talk you through it just for a moment. So the 5 levels are psychological. So our basic survival needs like food, water, warmth, and rest. So if disaster were to strike your home and you were displaced today, you don't first think about where are you going to get your next oat flat white. You consider only your basic need for survival. How are you going to shelter your family, find food, ensure that you have enough clean water? And this is the basis of quite a number of uh, survival TV programs. If any of you watch them, you know they dump people on an island and then film them trying to find their shelter, food and water. And I don't know how it is now, but it used to entertain people for weeks watching other people try to survive. But anyway, once people have achieved their basic survival needs, then they look for safety. So security, stability, health, and protection from harm. So once you are not starving or dehydrated, you need safety. So shelter may be temporary, but now you need a lock on your door. You need to rest easy. You need to have access to healthcare, etc. So once that's been satisfied, then we're looking at belonging and love. So relationships, friendships, intimacy, and feeling part of a community. So now you look to other people. You cultivate and nurture your relationships, friends, family, and community. Then it comes to esteem. So everything's going well. You have plenty of food and water. You are safe and secure. You've got people around you. And now you look to build respect, recognition, achievement, and self-worth. You can see here why we're driven to meet those earlier needs first. I mean, esteem needs might include your job title or your status, or even these are the needs being met by the brands that you buy, the car that you drive, where you live, etc. You can see how ridiculous it would be to consider these things if you can't sleep at night because you're not safe, right? And then there is self-actualization, so fulfillment, personal growth, creativity, and achieving one's full potential. So in today's world, where food and drink are abundant and easily accessible, hospitality is very rarely about satisfying our most basic needs. We don't go to restaurants because we're starving or stay in hotels simply for shelter, though perhaps when I stay in a travel lodge, that is what's all I'm looking for. And shelter is why. Um, so describing that as hospitality can be really confusing. But in general, when I leave the house and I choose to stay somewhere or visit a restaurant or a cafe, those psychological and safety needs are already met. And this is why considering our industry as simply serving food and drink and overnight stays is pretty ridiculous, and why it misses the point. It's why communicating with our customers sometimes gets lost in translation because we're talking about the wrong thing. What people are really seeking, often without realizing it, is something higher up Maslow's hierarchy: belonging, connection, recognition, joy, and inspiration. And fulfilling these is the true role of hospitality today. We are not in the business of transactions. We're in the business of transformation. We don't just serve food and drink. We create moments of meaning, warmth, and human connection. And that's what makes hospitality essential, not just for our economy, but for our collective well-being, our sense of community, and our ability to truly feel like we belong. So, as Maslow's hierarchy of needs explains, food and water meet our basic requirements, but hospitality reaches far beyond survival. At its best, it fulfills higher needs like belonging, so feeling connected and part of something, esteem, being recognized, respected, and valued, and self actualization, so being inspired, growing, and experience life in full color. We're not just serving food and drink, we're creating places where our customers curate and nurture their relationships, where they feel and celebrate self worth, and where, at our best, we create opportunities for growth and creativity. And at the very least, we're here to meet esteem needs and provide places of belonging. Every hospitality experience has potential to touch these levels. And when you meet them deeply and meaningfully for your team and your customers, something shifts. You stop selling products and you start building belief, loyalty, and belonging, and the kind that lasts. And this is what your customers are craving. So to set out and open a business and to be best in the world sounds unachievable, but it is absolutely achievable to be the best in their world, to be the place that your customers belong. So I just want to take a moment to just stop and reflect. So remember that you are also a customer. Where do you feel you belong? So just take a moment. Where are the places that you go because you feel you belong, where you feel that people get you and that you are like others? And then where are the places you go where you just grab and go, where places where it doesn't matter too much so long as the price is right? So do you feel differently about those places? Are the places that you feel proud of, where you take family and friends, where you go for special occasions, or where you go just when you want to feel like yourself? We all have places that serve the purpose of just food and drink or somewhere to sleep. And then we all have those places that feel like a treat, even if it's just a takeaway coffee or nipping out for a pint. Somewhere, somehow, it's those places that get us. I have plenty of places. So there's a coffee shop that I love because the barista reminds me of when I was their age and just starting out. Um, or or there's the pub that for no reason I can quite put my finger on just feels really comfortable. And I guess it's because the smiling faces of everyone in the room looks like somebody I could be friends with. Or the posh restaurants I go to very occasionally for my special occasions, and I get to dress up, put on my heels, and stroll in and be made to feel really important. Um, or even a street food van that it's a festival I go to. So I have a festival I visit nearly every year, and every year there's a food stall there in exactly the same pitch, and every year I make it a mission to ensure that I eat there at least once, usually twice. And if I can't find somewhere else that I think is worth trying, I will eat there three times over the weekend. They just serve exactly my kind of food in exactly the way I want it to be. And I want to be part of their tribe. Obviously, they serve the food that I love, and the service is good. But I couldn't tell you how expensive it is. Obviously, it goes up year to year, but to be honest, it's not really relevant. I'm definitely a loyal customer. I've been going to this festival since 2010. So what that's about at least 10 years because I've perhaps missed a few. Just one weekend every single year. And let's say that's two visits plus a drink. Let's say £15 every single time I go there. That's hundreds of pounds I spent with them. And yet the team wouldn't recognize me because the team keeps changing. Every year it's different people. But who they are, what they represent, and their culture remains the same. And I'm one of thousands of other people who know that this is my place. Because that's the thing. When you have fans, people who feel that they belong, they also have ownership. So we talk about my local, my favorite, my place. So let's just get practical. Um, Because if you're going to build belonging, you've first got to understand that not all customers are equal. This is my the Kith Kin customer loyalty map, and I created this loyalty map to help my teams understand this. And I used to use it as part of our customer service training, actually. And it maps out customers in two factors. So you've got satisfaction and you've got loyalty. And the results are not always what you expect. So let me talk you through it. And I first want to start with Mercenaries, because these customers are very highly satisfied, but they have no loyalty. These are people who shop around for deals. They bring a voucher or they choose you because you were the cheapest or most convenient option that day. You might deliver an amazing experience, and they may even leave a glowing 5-star review, but they're not coming back. And they are exactly why discounting rarely works to attract new customers, because you're not building a relationship. You are attracting people who aren't loyal anywhere. They are driven by price, novelty, and convenience. But what I see is too many operators spending too long chasing these customers. It's why we think price is important, and why discounts might work temporarily to get people through the door. But what we should understand is that whilst there are a lot of mercenary customers, they will never be loyal. These customers don't necessarily feel the need to belong anywhere. And so they are constantly drifting between venues, looking for the next deal. You might convert a few into loyal customers, but as you'll see in a moment, there are better types of customers to focus your time and energy on. Next, let me introduce you to the hostages. I love hostages because in hospitality, the idea of hostages is absolutely ridiculous, but it is a real category in other industries. These are customers who are really unhappy, yet they continue to come back. You are definitely a hostage in other industries. Think about your broadband supplier, your bank, your energy company. These customers are stuck. They keep spending money, not through loyalty, but because they have to. Maybe they're tied into a contract, or moving is too much hassle, or the alternatives are worse. And actually, it is because of the nature of the way they dominate both the high street and our wider economics. Actually, quite often we are hostages to the supermarket we go to, or at least we don't feel we have very much choice, in that there's probably only 4 or 5 of the big supermarkets that we do our shopping with. So actually our groceries, we are hostages to where we get our groceries from, because actually there's very little difference between some of those. And certainly the prices, we're not being driven by price or anything else, and we don't really get very much choice. So you know the feeling anyway, when you're a hostage to a company, you're endlessly on hold music, you're jumping through hoops to speak to a real person. And the real reason these companies get away with it is you're not going anywhere. You are a hostage. They can afford to care less because leaving them is hard. But in the hospitality industry, that just does not exist. Our customers can walk out and never return. And so they often do. So hostages are in this model so you can see the world that some businesses get to operate in, and it helps to understand. But we can't trap our customers. We have to attract them and keep them. So let me move on to ghosts. These are the customers who quietly drift away. Something doesn't land or feels off, but they don't complain, they just don't come back. They maybe even smiled as they left. Maybe they assured you everything was fine when you checked in with them. But the truth is, they're not happy. They didn't feel seen. They didn't feel it mattered. Something was a little bit off. And that's why your team needs to be brave. They need to be trained to spot discomfort and take action, because when they do, when they catch it in the moment, those almost lost customers can become some of your most loyal. And this is what checkbacks are supposed to be for. They're supposed to give your team an opportunity to find out, and not necessarily because the customer tells them. I'm certainly definitely guilty of not being massively impressed by a venue and the check back come in and say, is everything all right? And me just going, yeah, fine. Knowing full well I've already decided, I've checked out, I'm not coming back. Um, and to be honest, I think if a member of staff was honest or was trained to, they might be able to spot that in me and in other customers, um, because they should be able to sense it and pick it up when there's a problem. And from your point of view as a business, it's not about perfection, it's about care, because those are the people that, if you can find the problem and fix it quickly and efficiently, they're the people that can move into loyal customers. But this leads us into disruptors. If you have a hospitality business, you've definitely met them. We all have. They are the customers who want you to know they're not happy. They call for a manager, they complain loudly, they blast you in a review, they might even take to social media. These are your 1, 2, maybe even 3 stars on TripAdvisor. Their goal is to make noise, to be right, and sometimes just to do you damage. And occasionally, their complaint is justified. We all make mistakes, and when mistakes happen, it is our job to take responsibility, lead with care, and put things right. And that could be really powerful if handled well. As I said, with the ghost. So a disruptor can be transformed into one of your most loyal customers, because these customers want to feel seen, heard, and important. But sometimes they are just mean. They're not looking for resolution, they're looking for control. And in those cases, don't lose sleep over it. Don't waste hours crafting the perfect reply. Remember this model, and remember that these customers are not part of your tribe. You can remember that if they treat you and your team that way, they probably treat others the same. Most of your customers will recognize this too, so people can spot bad behavior for what it is. Unfortunately, these customers are not that common. And my advice is always that it really is better to not spend your energy on them. There are more important customers to give your time to. So let me just move now into some of who those customers are. Let's talk about your happy customers, your loyal customers. These are the people who really like you. They are satisfied and they keep coming back, and they bring a lovely sense of ease. They know you and you probably know them. They're reliable, low drama, and steady. Every hospitality business has them, and they're a joy to serve. But here's a risk. If you're stuck in a transactional mindset, these customers can be overlooked. They're not demanding or shouting, they're showing up, and they're the foundation of your business. Don't take them for granted. I literally just wrote a LinkedIn post about this the other day, about a customer who comes in for just a takeaway coffee once a day. So easy to overlook because they're no hassle. They order the same thing every day and leave with a smile. Less than 5 minutes a day. So easy to take for granted. But that customer is loyal, spending nearly £4 a day, and they have been coming back for years. They love what you do. They actually worth thousands to your business. These are the customers we should be identifying and showing the same level of loyalty back in return. They're too easy to take for granted. And then finally, the fans. These are the customers who love you. They don't just enjoy your business, they believe in it. They feel emotionally connected. They align with your values, even if you've never even spelt them out. They give generous and thoughtful feedback. They spend well and they bring their friends. They advocate for you without needing to be asked. They are absolutely part of your tribe and they help spread the word. If you're building a business rooted in purpose, connection, and belonging, these are your people. They're the dream. When you have fans, everything is easier. They become part of your story. They do your marketing for you because they are out spreading the word every single day. And even better, they attract more people like them. And that's the difference between customers and fans. Customers think with their head, fans feel with their hearts. Customers compare and weigh up the options, look for value. Fans don't. They already know that they belong. And that's why some brands feel like movements. It's why people queue overnight for an iPhone. It's why they get tattoos of logos on their bodies. And yes, apparently that happens. Although I think if my kids did that, I might kill them. It's why when something truly resonates, price becomes almost irrelevant. Fans don't care about cost. I mean, consider the chaos when Oasis announced their reunion tour. Tickets sold out within minutes. And there wasn't outrage about the price, but rather that people couldn't get tickets. Fans don't care about the cost. They just want to be there. And that's the power of emotional connection. Other customers will leave when a better offer comes along, but a fan is with you and they'll follow you anywhere. So let the mercenaries go. They were never going to stay. They came for a deal, a moment, a mood, and that's okay. You don't need them to grow something meaningful. Don't let the disruptors get you down. They do not deserve your attention. Some can be turned around with care, confidence, and grace. They might just become your loudest advocates. But the others, they're there just to stir the pot, and that says more about them than it does about you. Focus instead on the customers who recognize what you're building. And if you really want to have fun with this, and only do it because it's fun, not because it's another task, but play at transforming those disruptors, ghosts, and loyal customers into fans, because you know your ideal customer and you recognize them when they come in, and understanding what they need from you. And then you can watch that group of fans grow steadily right alongside your business. And when that happens, it's something else entirely. Because the truth is that fans are the most valuable people in your business. They're proof that you've built something meaningful and real, something that truly matters. Those fans make your business simple. They're called fans because they love you and they can't help but spread the word. So loyalty cards and discounts might attract mercenaries, but belonging creates fans. Belonging starts from within your business. It comes from knowing who your customers really are, who you are serving, and then designing your business so that they know they belong, and reinforcing that belonging through the high standards you keep, your determination to be the best in the world. Everyone is looking for the places where they belong. And when they find it, they are no longer sensitive to how much it costs because they are not comparing it to where else they can get something similar. Because you are the only place that they can get what you have. I have a wallet full of loyalty stamp cards and I get messages for offers every single birthday, and I rarely use any of them because only mercenaries are loyal to discounts. So now I want you to think about your own business. Imagine the customers in your venue right now. Picture them sitting across your tables. Who are the mercenaries? The ones who came in just for a deal. Who are the ghosts? The ones who smiled, said everything was fine, but never came back. Who are your loyal customers? The steady foundation. Can you picture them? And who are your fans? The ones who talk about you as if you are theirs. I want you to just take a moment, grab a notebook, and jot down names or faces that come to mind. So, who are your fans? The ones who talk about you as if you're theirs. And if you can't think of fans right now, then loyal customers are a very good starting point. So, what makes those fans feel the way they do? What makes them love you? How they talk about you to others? Now, I want you to consider, what do you do for them that you wouldn't do for just anyone? Okay, so this is an exercise that is about pausing and reflecting. And it's something potentially to come back to take away, because being able to identify who your fans are, what makes them love you, and what you do for them that you wouldn't just do for anyone, because that right there is the heart of belonging. So let's bring this all together. So loyalty doesn't come from discounts. It comes from belonging. Your fans are not just customers. They are your tribe. They don't just buy from you. They believe in you. They forgive your mistakes and they tell stories about you. They carry you with them. So this week's micro action is simple. Identify one valuable business, write down what they value most about you, and then do more of that and less of what attracts the mercenaries. So thank you so much for joining me on this standout session. I would absolutely love to hear your reflections, who you've identified as your fans, and how you're going to serve them even better. Drop your thoughts in the community. This is hospitality, and I know how busy you are. So here is my gift to you. We have finished early, but don't rush back to work. Stick to the hour that you took to do this, and take the next 10 minutes as time just for you. I hope to see you at the next formal event and definitely see you at the next webinar. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you all soon.